일단 세 보이고 엄청 섹시하고 그런 이미지를 생각했었어요.
춤을 잘 추는다. 몸이 유연하고 좀 파워풀하시더라고요.
저는 흑인분들 하면 약간 그 타고난 선천적인 피지컬? 뭐 힘이라든가 되게 다들 몸매도 좋으시고 피지컬적으로 되게 뛰어나시더라고요.
저는 좀 이런 건강미 넘치. 아는 분들도 있어요.
정말요?
네, 아는 분들 계세요?
저는 아직까지는 잘 모르는 것 같아요.
흑인에도 되게 다양한 피부색이 있는 것 같아. 이런 완전 흑 블랙, 아니면 이렇게 라틴 계열 느낌.
이분 SNS에서 봤는데
되게 유명하신 분인 것 같은데.
제 생각보다 훨씬 더 선이 약간 가늘고 그런 분들도 많으신 것 같아요. 완전 왜소하다기보다 되게 선이 이쁜 분들?
한마디로 몸매가 좀.
네. 훌륭하다고.
말을 되게. 보잖아요. 영화나 뭐 그런 걸 제가 되게 좋아해서 보는데 확실히 진짜 이쁘신 것 같아요. 네. 이쁘시고 저도 똑같이 손이 되게 좋으시고.
저도 방금 보여주신 사진 중에 제 SNS에서 페이스북에서 본 분이 한 분 계시거든요. 근데 그분은 그러니까 다른 혼혈이신 거 이런 건 잘 모르겠는데 몸이 정말 흑진주처럼 너무 이렇게 완전 까마신 분인데 너무 이쁜 거예요. 그게 오히려 완전히 이거니까. 그래서 그런 부분이 되게 매력적인 것 같아요. 이분도 엄청 이쁘신데 다 이쁘셔서 누굴 고르지? 먼저 고르죠.
저는
네.
이분.
네, 전 이분으로 하겠습니다.
저는 이분.
전 이분이 제일 섹시한 것 같아요.
저는 아까 말씀드린 것처럼 정말 그 완전히 까만 정말 근데 약간 초콜릿색 같은? 초콜릿 좀 다크 초콜릿? 근데 되게 매력적으로 생각했어요.
저는
And I ended up meeting up with a guy for lunch. We were talking about going out in Korea, what that experience was like. And he was basically just asking me about, like how do I like to dance? You know, what songs do I like? You know, do I like to twerk?
You see that? Black women? You pay attention to that. She said that she went out on a date with a Korean man and he asked her, do you like to twerk? Where the hell do you think he get that from? From what he see on TV.
So I'm not with nobody, cause I don't wanna hurt nobody. Did it over text, didn't call me. Still got love for your mommy. I know you wanna be somebody, even if you gotta leave somebody.
So let's get to the full video of the places for Black women. So basically what I did with this compilation, I got various Black women to discuss different things about the places that they're living in. I was thinking about doing the same narrative and having to talk about dating, but they touch on that. They also touch on some other things as well. So without further ado, ladies, here we go.
When I went to Korea, I had no intentions of dating. Zero. Honey, I was there for the food, for the experience, for the shopping, for the Instagram pictures. But it is inevitable as a Black person in Korea, you will get attention. Since I was there for so long, a lot of my friends were using the apps to make more Korean friends and explore Seoul more. So after a little bit of hesitancy, I decided to make an account and I ended up meeting up with a guy for lunch. The guy was super sweet and such a gentleman the entire time. But I did kind of feel like some of the topics of discussion were a little questionable. I remember.
So I put her story in here for a specific reason. This is something that Black women may have to deal with when you go overseas. And it's not because they're trying to be racist. They're just curious. I lived in Korea for a total of 3 years while I was in the military. I spent a lot of time in Seoul, a lot of time, in the nightlife. It is a party town. Korea is amazing. South Korea is amazing. So like I said, I lived in Korea for 3 years, but the people there, they're just curious in regards to your background, especially if you're a Black woman and you're living there. They're gonna want to know a little bit more about your upbringing, and the only way that they can associate that is to what they see on TV. So that's why you guys understand why I talk about ethnic image so much, because most of the experience that they get about Americans is either from TV or from the military members that are there. It's a lot of military bases in South Korea. So they are familiar with Americans. But if you're going in regards to a dating aspect, then yes, you will go on a date with one of these young Korean men. They're going to ask you maybe some prying questions that may be a little bit suspect in regards to the racism act, but just understand that they're just very curious. So let's continue.
We were hanging out and we were talking about going out in Korea, what that experience was like. And he was basically just asking me about, like how do I like to dance? You know, what songs do I like? You know, do I like to twerk?
You see that? Black women, you pay attention to that. She said that she went out on a date with a Korean man and he asked her, do you like to twerk? Where the hell you think he get that from? From what he see on TV. So that's why I'm telling y'all got to chill. Stop. You got to stop over-sexualizing yourselves on TV, because when foreigners view Black women, they're going to go off of what they see on social media, what they see on TV, what they see on, wherever else. So for him to ask her, hey, do you like to twerk? He specifically probably got that from social media or from TV. So be aware. Let's continue.
And stuff. And I was just like, okay, yeah, sure, sometimes, twerking happens, but why are we talking about that? Another thing he mentioned was he really cannot stand, and he brought this up, when people are singing songs and they use derogatory terms like, the N-word or something. He's just like, I can't stand that. That's so disrespectful. And although I appreciated the acknowledgement of that, I was just kind of like, why are we talking about this? Why is this the topic of discussion? It wasn't anything wrong, but it was more so kind of this idea of he felt the need to talk about more stereotypical Black things instead of just talking to me like a normal human being would talk to someone that they were on a first date with,
So, like I said, he was basically just trying to relate, because like all he knows is what he sees probably on social media, TV, and from military members, service members. So if he's trying to get to know you, he's going to use examples of what he knows that Black people are doing, or the stereotypes, as she said. I wouldn't call it stereotypes if we're actually doing the stuff that he's talking about, right? So so that's why I always harp on the ethnic image so much, because this matters wherever you go in different countries. And I wanted to reiterate, and there's going to be a young lady that says the same thing. When you travel to different countries, you're an American first. Black is second. So I know people always talk mess about being an American, and I don't think that ever hit me, because I was in the military. How am I going to be sitting there saying that I don't love America when I spent 20 years in the service? But a lot of people still carry that mentality that, hey, I'm different. I'm not a true American. I'm like, yes, you are. When you go to these other countries, they see you as American. Black is second. So that's why this guy in this particular situation, he was just curious and he was trying to relate to her. And I don't think she really got it, but I'm just trying to let the Black women who see this video understand this is what's probably going to happen. But you can make the determination if he's being a little bit intrusive, if he's getting disrespectful. You have to determine if that's a fact, or if he's doing it or not. But for the most part, I think they're just curious and very, forward with the way they speak. They'll ask you certain questions about your hair. They'll ask you certain questions about your butt size. I've heard that from some of my friends, female friends. But yeah, you determine if it's getting a little bit disrespectful or not. For the most part, I would say that they're just being curious, trying to relate.
I don't know. Take that for what it is, but it was just Now, not a lot of people talk about this, but sometimes dating in Korea as a foreigner means that you will be used for your money or excessively paying for things. And what I mean by that is many Koreans know that foreigners coming to Korea have some sort of money tucked away, some sort of money in order for you to get there. And this goes for both men and women. I unfortunately experienced this on a date in Korea where I felt constantly pressured to cover both tabs, kind of forced to go ahead and pull out my money at the last minute in front of someone who I couldn't communicate with because I couldn't speak Korean that very well. But the person who I was with said, oh yeah, you need to give this amount, and I would give that amount, and they never gave any amount either, meaning like I covered both of us. And
that's pretty funny. I don't want to say that she got finessed, but I know what I know about the Korean dating aspect. They don't view dating like we view it in the States. Like she said that I had to pay for everything. For the most part, Koreans don't date and go to pricey places. They just go to they'll walk, around the town. They'll go to a small coffee shop. just to get to know you. So for them, dating is literally about getting to know you, and not as much as, you know, like in the States where women base their dating experience off of where you take them. And so for her to pay for his dinner, he was probably just like, yeah, you got this. Is not that much money or whatever. She may have gotten finessed or not. But from what I know about dating in Korea, they don't view it the same as in America. Women expect men to pay for everything, but in Korea, it's not like that. It's up to their discretion. So if she got finessed by a guy saying, hey, give this much money, then it is what it is. But for the most part, dating is just to get to know one another. But you guys know how dating is in the States. It's a little bit different than overseas. So let's continue.
And some of y'all might not find an issue with that. Some of y'all will. I don't know. For me, I kind of felt like all you have to do is just ask me. I don't mind covering a tab or a bill for both parties as long as you just ask me. But if you just kind of force the money out of my hand or force it out of me and don't quite explain to me like what it's being used for or that you're getting paid from this as well, I just kind of found that a little bit concerning and I didn't enjoy that as much. So that is something to definitely look out for when you are dating in Korea, is people who might just be simply talking to you just to make a little bit of money or get a little bit of food or whatever the case may be.
So, and that's another point that I wanted to touch on for Black women. You all have to understand, if you're trying to date in other countries, remember, like I told the guys on last week's stream, America ranks number 2 in regards to the annual earnings. So when you go to these different countries, if you're a Black woman and you're trying to settle down or find a husband, understand that you may be the primary breadwinner in that relationship. That is a caveat that tends to be overlooked when Black women are talking about finding husbands overseas. You make more money than the majority of the world's population on average. If you're a woman who likes to travel, and you guys already understand that most of the high earning people in the United States who travel are women. Women who make over $250,000 travel the most. So just imagine that woman going on the dating market in another country where they make significantly less than what we make in the States. You're going to be the primary breadwinner in that relationship. So please get it out of your head that the man has to pay for every date. Because if you don't, if you really want to date and find a husband in these other countries, get used to paying and picking up tabs. Because like I said, you may be making more than, that guy in that other country. Not all the time, but it's a highly likely that you will be making more. So if that's an issue, then you may need to stay in the States and try and find a husband. But if it's not, and you're just looking for somebody to be peaceful, a husband that's going to, make you feel good, and you're being the primary breadwinner, hey, have at it. Have fun. But just be aware of that.